Somewhere in this corner of the world, a snake is about to launch itself from 90 feet up in a tree. Not because it's suicidal, because it can fly. Proof that even snakes get tired of ground traffic. Oh, and by the way, that snake, it's your mom. And there she goes, leaving you, little hatchling, to witness her one-way flight to a permanent child-free vacation. Congratulations, you're officially on your own, with zero instructions on what to do next. Not that it matters, since you can't even crawl yet. But don't worry, your first flying lesson starts now. And by lesson, I mean one shot at surviving a race between instincts and gravity, where second place is not an option. Your siblings step up as test pilots to demonstrate. Well, maybe not him. That's certainly one way to meet the ground. Turns out, being born with the ability to fly doesn't come with the ability to land. But this sibling seems to have figured it out. Guess that means it's your turn. That J shape you're curling into? That's not just your final dramatic selfie pose, it's your official launch position. And go. Your muscles tighten for your first ever high dive. Except your pool is 90 feet of pure open air. No safety net, just a bunch of eagles circling above. Not exactly the welcome committee you were hoping for. Because apparently this wasn't difficult enough already, Mother Nature decided to add aerial predators into the mix. Well, would you look at that? Your ribs just expanded like tiny parachutes, doubling your body size. Now you're gliding, weaving an S-shaped path through the air. Not because you're panicking. Okay, maybe a little. But those movements aren't just about dodging an early death. You're actually controlling your flight, swimming through the sky, steering with precision to avoid predators and obstacles. Physics is wild. As your target branch approaches, your instincts kick in to slow you down. Good thing too, because a poorly calculated landing here means game over. But guess what? You made it. You survived. Now let's rewind about 20 million years to see how you got here. Your ancestors weren't exactly the aerial masters you are today. Life back then was simple. Climb trees, eat stuff, try not to become stuff that gets eaten. When they needed to move between trees, they had two choices. Take the long way around or take a leap of faith and see what happens. The ground was just as dangerous back then. Monitor lizards had been running an all-you-can-eat buffet for millions of years. At some point, your ancestors got creative. They started spreading their ribs mid-fall, experimenting with the concept of not hitting the ground like a sack of potatoes. Most of the time, it didn't work, but sometimes it did. The ones who figured out the trick lived just long enough to pass on their genes. Fast forward a few million years of trial and error, and evolution got to work. Wider ribs, flexible scales, that signature S-shaped movement. What started as a survival hack became a family business. The ones who couldn't get the hang of it, well, let's just say their family tree got trimmed. And that brings us to you. Millions of years of evolution wrapped up in one sleek aerodynamic package. Now it's your turn to unlock that genetic legacy your ancestors fought so hard to pass down. Up here, the rule is simple. The ground is lava. Monitor, lizards, civets, and bigger snakes patrol below, all playing a fun little game called Catch the Falling Snake. So yeah, landing down there, not an option. Let's be real, your first few flights are going to be absolute chaos. Near misses, accidental victories, and more than a few terrifying moments. But hey, evolution didn't get you this far just for you to mess it up now. Would have gone viral if snakes had smartphones, but they don't. Every landing teaches you something new, like how to read the wind and where to aim your next jump. While the world sees trees, flying snakes see highways. Branches are exits, gaps are express lanes. The higher the branch, the better the launch point. at least according to your ever-evolving real estate checklist. But unlike real estate agents, your competitors have no issue with eating you if you trespass. And up here, every promising branch could be hiding a predator. So staying alert isn't optional. It's survival. After all this aerial acrobatics, you're getting hungry. What's on the menu? Tree-dwelling lizards, frogs, insects. Sadly, your food delivery driver bailed after seeing the 90-foot climb. Looks like it's time to master self-service. Your first potential meal, this is your moment. You analyze your launch spot, knowing that each branch affects your trajectory, wind exposure, and attack angle. The conditions are perfect. This is what all your training has led to. Your body flattens out into a silent aerial approach. No footsteps, no rustling leaves, just pure ninja mode. And nice try, but your lunch is already in another time zone. A few more embarrassing attempts follow, but eventually you catch something. It's not much, but it'll do. Time to get back to premium branch hunting. Because the best spots in the forest don't stay vacant for long. Well, look who else had the same idea. Oh, it's your sibling from this morning. Unfortunately, they're not here to start a real estate business with you. Time to retreat. Good call. Turns out, being a coward just saved your life. You find a new perch, ready for your next adventure. But something feels off. Oh, right, gravity. You know what touching the ground means. Too bad, because it looks like your story is about to end. Or maybe not. Turns out you're so tiny that this giant mistook you for just another fallen branch. Lucky break. Time to move. Fast. Instinct takes over. Grip the bark with your belly, arch forward, anchor your rear, repeat. Look at you go, scaling microscopic ridges like a pro, much safer up here. Lucky for you, no predator was nearby to witness your mistake. The view is better from this height anyway. As weeks pass, your routine becomes simple. Hunt by day, cozy up in tree hollows by night. With each season, the winds shift and you adjust your flight patterns accordingly. 2 years later, you've grown into a fully fledged adult flying snake. Now 40 inches long, you've upgraded your diet from whatever crawls slowest to premium aerial delicacies. You can now glide up to 330 feet in optimal conditions, covering 3 stories forward for every story you drop, outpacing many winged flyers in pure gliding efficiency. But up here, the sky has rules. Ones you're just beginning to understand. Your species isn't exactly territorial, but better launch spots aren't just about convenience. Your survival depends on them. And the neighbors? Not so friendly. Other flying snakes want the same prime purchase, and they're not interested in sharing. The air gets crowded during hunting hours. Because here, everyone's goal is the same. Don't become someone else's dinner. Somewhere in this part of the world, a snake is about to leap from a 90-foot high branch. Not because it's lost hope, but because it can fly. That's proof that even snakes get tired of ground traffic. Oh, and that snake, it's your mom. And there she goes. You've hatched at quite the moment, just in time to witness her one-way flight to a permanent child-free vacation. Congratulations, you and your siblings are now officially on your own, with 0 instructions on what to do next. You can't even crawl properly yet, but your first flying lesson begins. Now. And by lesson, I mean a single trial by air experience where it's you versus gravity. And the second place isn't an option. Your siblings go first, acting as unintentional test pilots. Well, maybe not him. That's one way to meet the ground. Turns out, being born with the ability to fly doesn't include the ability to land. But your other sibling? They seem to have the basics down. Your turn. No backing out now. You tense your muscles into a J shape, your designated launch position, not just a dramatic pose for your last selfie. And you dive. The air rushes past. It's a full-on skydiving competition, except the pool is 90 feet of pure nothing. And your only safety net doesn't exist. No pressure. Oh, and those dots circling above? Eagles. They aren't exactly here to welcome you to the neighborhood. As if this challenge wasn't hard enough already. Mother Nature really has a sense of humor. But wait, look at that! Your ribs spread wide, turning you into a living pancake, doubling your surface area. You're wiggling in midair. An S-shaped motion, not out of panic. Okay, maybe a little. But because this is how you fly. That was close. Those side-to-side movements aren't just for show. You're literally swimming through the air, controlling direction and speed, dodging predators and obstacles like an airborne ninja. Physics is wild. You spot a branch and instinctively slow down, adjusting your angle. A precise landing is critical. This is checkmate, and losing means death. Congratulations, you survived so far. But let's rewind 20 million years to see how you got here. Your ancient ancestors weren't quite the aerial acrobats you are today. Life was simple: climb trees, eat stuff, and try not to become something else's dinner. When they needed to move between trees, they had two choices: take the long way or experience the thrill of falling and see what happens. Spoiler alert, the ground wasn't any friendlier back then. Monitor lizards had been running the same all-you-can-eat buffet for millions of years. Eventually, some of your ancestors got creative mid-fall. Most of the time, it didn't work, but sometimes it did. The ones who figured it out lived a little longer. Their ribs spread wider, their scales became more flexible, and their bodies mastered that signature aerial wiggle. Fast forward a few million years. Those who didn't evolve the skill got their branch of the family tree pruned. But those who mastered the art of not dying passed on their genes. And here you are, millions of years of evolution compressed into one sleek aerodynamic package. Welcome to life in the sky, where one rule matters. The ground is lava. Monitor lizards, civets, and larger snakes patrol below, playing a game called Catch the Falling Snake. You do not want to be the prize. For now, your flights are chaotic, a mix of accidental successes, close calls, and near misses that would have gone viral if snakes had smartphones. Each landing is a lesson: how to read the wind, how to aim, where to jump. To the rest of the world, this is just a forest. To flying snakes, it's an intricate highway system. Every branch is an exit. Every gap is an express lane. The higher the branch, the better the launch pad. But prime real estate comes with competition. And up here, competitors aren't afraid to eat you. After all this aerial acrobatics, you're hungry. The menu? Tree-dwelling lizards, frogs, insects. Unfortunately, there's no delivery service. Looks like you'll have to master the art of self-service. There, your first potential snack. You analyze your launch point, factoring in trajectory, wind exposure, and angle of attack. Everything is perfect. This is the moment all that training has led to. Your body flattens, silent as a shadow. No rustling leaves, no sound, just pure aerial ninja skills. And nice try. Your lunch just moved to another zip code. A few embarrassing attempts later, you finally catch something. It's not much, but it'll do. Time to find a new perch. That branch looks promising. Wait, isn't that your sibling from earlier? Unfortunately, they're not here for a family reunion. You retreat. Wise choice. Turns out, sometimes being a coward saves your life. But then, something feels off. Oh, right. Gravity. The ground is closer than it should be. Bad news. Even worse news. A giant just mistook you for a fallen branch. Fun fact, at this stage, you're barely 10 inches long. So small that some creatures don't even recognize you as food. Instinct kicks in. Grip the bark. Arch forward. Anchor your tail. Repeat. Look at you go, scaling microscopic ridges like a pro. Much safer up here. Lucky you. No predator was nearby to witness your mistake. Over the next few weeks, you settle into a routine. Hunt by day, hide by night. Each season brings new winds, and you adjust your flight patterns accordingly. 2 years later, you're fully grown. Now, a 40-inch long, highly skilled aerial predator. You can glide over 300 feet in optimal conditions, outpacing some birds in pure glide efficiency. But life in the sky follows strict rules. Flying snakes aren't territorial, but prime spots aren't just for comfort. Your life depends on them. The best launch zones are the hot property, and competition is ruthless. One morning, you find a perfect branch, perfect height, perfect angle, perfect hunting ground. Unfortunately, someone else thinks so too. The challenger arrives. He tries to intimidate you. Cute. Flying snakes don't fight. No biting, no wrestling. Not even a passive-aggressive hiss. Instead, it's a silent battle of agility and confidence. Your rival leaps fast. You follow. His reckless speed is countered by your controlled precision. This isn't just about survival anymore, it's a talent show. 2 snakes, 1 branch. Your rival hesitates for just a second, enough time for you to land first. He panics midair, scrambling for a branch that isn't there. He falls. You both know what that means. Hours pass as you remain motionless, blending into the bark. Even the sharpest-eyed predators can't spot you in stealth mode. Your patience pays off. A perfect target appears. You ready yourself to strike, but then mating season arrives. Time for a different kind of competition. The goal? Impress a female, not with brute strength, but with aerial finesse. Males take turns showing off their best gliding moves, hoping to win her favor. Your turn. You spread your ribs, executing the most impressive glide of your life. And nope. She picks someone else. Tough break, but don't worry. Another female notices you. Lucky for you, flying snakes aren't monogamous. Fast forward, your genes are secured. If you were female, you'd now be carrying the next generation of aerial acrobats. You'd spend 3 months continuing your daily near-death experiences before finding the perfect spot to lay eggs. And just like your mother before you, you'd leave. Time flies when you're not bird food. 8 years later, your gliding isn't what it used to be. The youngest snakes now dominate the best branches. You settle for lower perches, trading prime hunting grounds for a quiet retirement. But one morning, you take one last leap. Your muscles don't respond fast enough. Your trajectory is off. The ground rushes up to meet you. You spent years dodging predators, only to be caught by the ultimate hunter. Gravity. After all, it wasn't a lie. The ground is lava.